Thanks, Linsey, for joining us. Great to have you at the Alliance breakfast discussion about our September issue about how much influence philanthropy has and what influence you think philanthropy has, and is it a concern to you?
We're seeing a development arise where increasingly different voices within the philanthropic sphere seem to be exerting a lot of directional influence on new trends that are arising. So we're seeing a market-based turn in a lot of development and philanthropic work, and this can possibly be a positive development. But the question is, how do you know? And how you know is that you need to look at the disbursements of different philanthropic actors and try to evaluate the effects that those disbursements are having. And one of the things that really concerns me about certain new corporate entities that are arising in the philanthropic space is that initiatives like the Chan and Zuckerberg initiative, which is endowed by Mark Zuckerberg through a certain proportion of his Facebook shares, is that organizationally it is not subjected to the same type of disclosure requirements that a foundation like, say, the Gates Foundation faces. So although the Gates Foundation, I think, has been subjected to a lot of important criticism in recent years, one of the reasons why we're able to look at what the Gates Foundation does is because I think very laudably they make it very easy to access all of their grants disbursements. And now that is a thing that they have to do because of certain charity regulations in the United States. They have to provide public access. But how they actually provide that information is very easy to access. It's done in a very transparent way. We don't know yet how much information we'll ever have about the Chan Zuckerberg initiative, because the way it's set up as a limited liability company means that legally they don't have to provide access to the grants that they're dispersing.
In your view, is there anything that could or should be done about that, or do we just have to accept it
operating
outside of the charitable framework?
I think it is slightly outside the charitable framework, the best policy action moving forward, and it's actually more of a cultural problem, is that we have to develop a degree of skepticism. The media immediately reported the announcement from Mr. Zuckerberg about his new charitable entity with the assumption that it was a philanthropic foundation. There was the assumption that all of this money would be divested towards charitable causes. Actually, once the details started to emerge, you realize that nothing was actually given by Mr. Zuckerberg when he announced this new initiative. There was a transfer of shares from Facebook to a new limited liability company established by himself, and I think the realization of that should lead the media and members of the public to recognize that philanthropic initiatives aren't necessarily inevitably a social good. They can exert influence in both positive and pernicious ways. And the most important step moving forward is to not always give the benefit of the doubt when I don't think that trust has been necessarily as established as it should be.
Thank you.